A 10-foot slab of porcelain. One wonky ramp to the back door. What could possibly go wrong? Last December, when we saw it in the shop on Madison Avenue, we knew we wanted the entire piece. It's perfect for our kitchen backsplash. But 10 weeks later, when the first one broke on the ship from Italy, and we waited another 10 weeks for the second slab, we realized just how fragile our quarter-inch thick porcelain is. Now that it's arrived, we discovered that at 10 feet long and 5 feet high, it's just too big to go up our first staircase into the kitchen. And while our back door is big enough for it to get in, we haven't built the staircase yet. So for the last month, we've had to carefully store it in our ground floor rental until today. Because at last, our crew is ready to install it, and they're building a temporary ramp to get it in. It's really steep. It's not very straight, and there are no steps. Instead, they put down 2x4s so their feet will have some traction. And suddenly, it's time to move the slab. They've clamped on a 2x4 to help keep it stiff. And off they go 100 feet up the driveway. To prevent it shattering, they don't want to touch the concrete, so they need to reach the courtyard and set it on the waiting wooden blocks. Once in the courtyard, they pause for a moment to double-check the suction cups gripping it. And without a second thought, they pull the trigger and head up the ramp.
Slowly.
Stepping gingerly over the 2x4s, they slowly make their way up to the door.
Slowly, slowly, slow. Watch the top, watch the top, watch the top.
At $20 a square foot, that's $1,000 worth of porcelain in the hands of a crew we trust.
Watch the top.
But if it breaks, we don't have the money or the time to replace it. Hector runs around to the front of the house to help from the other side. Inside, they need to do a huge U-turn around the kitchen island to get it in front of the backsplash. It's at this moment that I realize I never decided which side is up and which is down. And Sean's not home. With Hector and Jonathan holding it steady, Greg begins to take the measurements for where the outlets are, and then puts a layer of tape on so he can mark out the locations. We've got a single outlet on the left, and an outlet and switch on the right. He double checks his numbers, and satisfied, it's time to cut. His blade slices through the porcelain like butter, hitting his marks for the lines and the corners. Then he plunges the blade right into the center. And just like that, the first one's done, and he's off to the larger one. And I hold my breath as he tears through this one too. Done. On the upper left side, Greg starts slathering silicone instead of mastic because our brand new wall isn't plumb over here, so it needs to remain flexible. But the rest of the wall and the back get buttered with a thin set made for glass and porcelain. It's finally time to lift all 10 feet up onto the wall and sit it on the temporary support ledge Greg's put in place to hold the weight. They unclamp the stiffening board, and with one heave, they lift it and set it on the ledge. It's up, but it needs to slide to the left. And just like that, it's in place, and the cuts line up beautifully. Jonathan hands Greg a mallet, and using a 2x4 to spread out the impact, he begins hammering the porcelain, trying to make it connect with the thin set on the back so it'll stick. With Jonathan holding it in place, Greg measures the distance to the island where he'll put a brace. Trusting that the slab won't fall forward, Greg pulls out his level.
What are we looking for, 0?
Yeah, 0, 0. Let it go. Tomorrow, once it's dry, you can dance on it.
Proud of how it's turned out, Greg snaps a quick photo of his work. Then the first brace goes up, keeping the pressure on the slab. And the second one gets snugged in where it'll hold in place overnight.
Thank you.
It's a good thing Sean wasn't home today to watch the guys carry that porcelain up this ramp, because he would not have approved. But now I can't wait for him to see how it looks. Pay no attention to whether it's right side up or not.
Wow.
Just appreciate that it's done, and it's a beautiful backdrop in our kitchen. And with the stage set, it's time to build our kitchen.